Welcome to Sunday School for Sunday, September 3rd, 2023. For our junior high students, this is the Amplified Version. Our memory verse today is Psalms 104, verse 24. O Lord, how many and varied are your works! In wisdom you have made them all. The earth is full of your riches and your creatures. The title of today's story, Taking Care of Home. Most places carry reminders about how we should take care of the earth. You might have recycling bins in your school and at home. Maybe your parents and teachers remind you of the importance of conserving water and electricity. Nationwide, communities, schools, and churches even celebrate Earth Day. But how many of us really feel that taking care of the earth is taking care of our home? Wangari Maathai grew up in Kenya knowing God and his beautiful works in nature around her. As she grew up, she watched the world around her become damaged through deforestation. She started the Green Belt movement in 1977. Through the movement, Maathai improved the economic status of the women in her country and reversed the devastation to the trees of Kenya. Maathai's movement has grown to be responsible for the planting of 15 million trees and more than 1,500 tree nurseries and offices in 30 African nations. Her work earned her a Nobel Peace Prize for her environmental activism. Not only did she help women financially support themselves through the planting of trees and replenishing their own environment, but she also fought ecological and social injustice in the government by inspiring fellow Kenyans to stand up for the rights of nature and people. Wangari Maathai has inspired people well beyond the borders of her home country by taking care of her home on God's earth. Wangari allows the earth to take care of, protect, and provide for others. The lesson scripture, Psalms 104, verses 5 through 9, and then verses 24 through 30. This is the Amplified Version. He established the earth on its foundations, so that it will not be moved forever and ever. You covered it with the deep as with a garment. The waters were standing above the mountains. At your rebuke they fled. At the sound of your thunder they hurried away. The mountains rose, the valleys sank down to the place which you established for them. You set a boundary for the waters, that they may not cross over, so that they will not return to cover the earth. Verses 24 through 30. O Lord, how many and varied are your works! In wisdom you have made them all. The earth is full of your riches and your creatures. There is the sea, great and broad, in which are swarms without number, creatures both small and great. There the ships of the sea sail, and Leviathan the sea monster, which you have formed to play there. They all wait for you, to give them their food in its appointed season. You give it to them, they gather it up. You open your hand, they are filled and satisfied with good things. You hide your face, they are dismayed. You take away their breath, they die and return to their dust. You send out your spirit, they are created. You renew the face of the ground. God creates. God is the creator and sustainer of all things. In our scripture, we see the beauty of God's benevolence and the relationship between God and all of creation. God creates and provides for creation. Creation in turn praises God with its very existence, depending on Him for food, shelter, and the joy of life. There is no separation between the Creator and creation. It is God's love and spirit that animates all life, people, animals, and plants. Nature and all that is in it reflects the fingerprint of God. It is a beautiful and wonderful orchestra where the entire world sings His praise. How to see creation as art. Number 1, acknowledge God's power, love, and care for all of creation. Number 2, recognize the beauty in God's work by taking a walk in nature. And number 3, take care of the world around you. Reuse as much as you can, clean up your neighborhood, or encourage your family to recycle. Everything we need. All humans have basic needs that must be supplied to sustain their daily lives. Where can Christians find a reliable source to assist them in acquiring what is needed? The psalmist tells us that God's hands are overflowing with the resources needed to sustain everything He created. Although we do not live in the wild of nature, we all have gifts and ideas that God can use to sustain us and those around us. How can you work with others to use your gifts and ideas to be an agent of God's provision and sustaining love? Reuse, not refuse. Recycling is not the only activity that helps the earth. Reusing is also something that helps our ecology. Instead of creating more trash, we can reuse things and keep them out of landfills and garbage dumps. One really fun way to reuse is to host a swap party. A swap party is a gathering at which all of the invited guests bring some gently or barely used clothes they no longer want in order to trade them with other guests. Discuss putting together a swap party with your teacher and other members of your class. Look up swap parties on the internet for ideas on how to organize and run one. Have fun. The daily Bible reading for the week. Monday, the topic is living creatures of every kind. Read Genesis chapter 1, verses 20 through 25. Tuesday, the topic is made in the image of God. Read Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 through 31. Wednesday, the topic is formed from the dust. Read Genesis chapter 2, verses 1 through 9. Thursday, the topic is in the likeness of God. Read Genesis chapter 5, verses 1 through 5. Friday, the topic is made a little lower than God. Read Psalms chapter 8. Saturday, the topic is created in the likeness of God. Read Ephesians chapter 4, verses 17 through 24. And on Sunday, the topic is created male and female. Read Genesis chapter 2, verses 18 through 25. The end. God bless you and thank you for joining me today.